I'm going to be talking about who you become is more important than what you get. So I do these YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys do find this video content of value, please hit the like and share. Let your friends know, family, whoever that needs it. But anyways, I will be starting out with a recap, and then I'll be talking about 4 slides that I'll be talking about today. What's up, Gem Mint or Zach? Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it, and I want to start with the episode on changing your relationship with emotions, right? Because what ends up happening now more than ever is how people control their emotions, and I feel like emotion is one of the things that dominates us. And if you're not careful with your emotions, you might start reacting. And when you start reacting, you're not really responding anymore. And if you're not responding and you're reacting, 9 out of 10 times, a lot of the things that you do will actually it might not be the best choice. Because if emotions was always right, the world would be in a much better place, if you know what I mean. Just look back what happened, a few days ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, right? A lot of things been happening. And also, it sucks that everything kind of just went down from there. But you also have to understand, like, news, right? I'm not saying that don't listen to the news, and I think that it's really important to understand what's going on. But sometimes ignorance is bliss, and sometimes it's not. It's not when it's related to you, right? but it but it is if it does not relate to you. And I'm not taking anything away from people about what's been happening. But like the news, it's supposed to elicit a lot of emotions. It's supposed to, like, a lot of fear, anxiety, right? And so that's what the world is stimulating us all the time. Now think about it. You pull out your phone, right? These little computers that you have that we call phones, right? That's what I loved. And it's every single thing that you do on here is so quick, right? Now just imagine how it was back in the days. You didn't have that opportunity to just get in contact with that person that you want, right? So now when we don't get a text or a call or something, or you got these read receipts, it's going to elicit a lot of emotions. And if you don't know how to control that, it puts you into a category where, okay, this person doesn't really know how to control their emotions, so why would I want to be around them? Okay, who is this person? How come this person knows how to control their emotion, and how come all these things don't bother them, right? So that's the changing your relationships with emotions. And that's, what is your internal dialogue? Internal dialogue versus, think about it like this, in terms of your conscious thought and your subconscious thought. Your subconscious thought is what you consistently tell yourself when you're, say for example, staring at a mirror or staring at a blank wall, when you're absolutely doing nothing. Or maybe you're just walking and strolling and drinking your coffee, and you're like, what is your mind telling you? And it's really important to analyze what is going on in there, because that's what's going to be repeated. And what you say to yourself, you start believing in it, and your brain doesn't know the difference, but it does have a psychological effect onto how you feel, right? So for example, if I were to, you know feel bad, or how a lot of people say, fake it till you make it. And so they say, you know what, start smiling, right? Your You change your body's your the chemistry inside, and just start smiling, and then automatically you start feeling better. And yes, it does, right? And so by changing the physiology of your body, maybe just jumping up and down, that could, like, kind of pump you up momentarily. But you don't want to always rely on that. So really understanding the subconscious thoughts, which is like about 80 to 90% of what's actually controlling you or running you, by understanding that and where it's holding you back, even if you're trying to propel forward, that's going to make the difference between what's happening with your life now and what the potential is in the future. Okay, so I want to talk about the first point, which is, what do you find yourself consistently thinking about or talking to others about? Like, what's going on? What is that dialogue? Now, there's some people, when I talk to them, they like to talk about great things, right? There was this quote where great I forgot it off the top of my head, so not verbatim, but it's, small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, and great minds discuss ideas. And it's, think about it, it's like 80% of conversation is gossip. And the last thing I want to associate myself with is, you know, listening to somebody talking smack about another person, because to me, one, it doesn't really relate to me, and two, so what if they think about that? Okay, they not doing anything to me, so that's okay. But it's what you're giving out, and that's your vibration, and that's your energy. And if you're pushing out that energy, this it kind of shows who you are as a person. That's your character, right? And so listen to yourself. And are you more focused on yourself when you're speaking to people, or are you more focused on other people? Like I said before, you can't give what you don't have. And if you don't have a lot, and let's just say your life, there's not a lot of people don't really listen to what you have to say, right? And so you feel like, hey, maybe when I go out, there's a lot that I need to say. And once I finally get that one person that listens to me, I'm just gonna keep yapping, 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 and it's all about me, 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 me. And that's where majority of the life is. Conversation, people around you. That's where it's at, right? Now, key thing is, and I got this from Julian himself. So if you want to check him out, he's a great person to listen to on YouTube. And I searched him up. It's Julien himself, all one word. And he talked about how, are you addicted to emotions of what you're talking about, right? So he talked about people who resonate with low energy or low vibration are usually speaking in terms of emotions, like, this is what's happening to me, this is why life happens to me, right? And it's always me, 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 and it's always speaking about emotions, right? Now, people who resonate with high energy or higher vibration usually focuses on facts. Facts are what's been happening. Say for example, hey, maybe something shitty happened. Hey, someone cut you off, or someone almost hit you, or whatever it is. But then you're out on vacation or a holiday, wherever you're from, right? And you're out with your friends, and you're having a great time. Now, where is your mind? What is your subconscious mind really thinking? Are you more primed or more focused and driven about what almost could have happened to you versus what's actually happening? You're actually out having a good time with your friends, right? And depending on where you're at, that's where most people vibrate from, right? Their energy levels. And if you do not vibrate well with those people, eventually they're not gonna be there with you. So imagine it like this. As you are becoming a better person and you're escalating, right? Whether it's relationships, finance, personal, whatever it is, eventually when you get to a level, most people, and you want to keep going up, most people down here won't be able to see and understand you. So it's not that you're saying that you're better than them, but it's eventually you're gonna be like, look, whatever I say, you're just not going to understand me. And it's okay, I'm not mad at you, but it's like we just don't have that kind of chemistry. So aka, you ever heard the term, oh, they just kind of outgrew me, or we outgrew each other, right? It's usually because one person started moving towards a goal or improving themselves in one area of their life, and then it starts snowballing from there, and then one person just kind of stayed the same. And we all kind of know those people. But who doesn't want what's best for you, right? Same thing. Like, who wouldn't want to have the best relationship, the best career, right? So wherever you're at and whatever you're doing, keep pushing forward and continue to do what you love doing, right? And that's the goal. But it depends, right? Where are you at mentally? You don't want to be the richest man in the grave, and that's what Tony Robbins says a lot. So a lot of today's slides and what I'll be talking about, we'll be discussing about what Tony Robbins says and how it also related back to me too. So I'll be explaining some stories. So hang tight. But anyways, people with higher vibrations, they see the good in things, right? Facts usually don't get our emotional addiction. So, emotional addiction, as in people with low vibrations, they like to talk about their emotions, right? Emotions as emotions at. And I'm not saying that anything about emotions is bad, but there are certain people that you want to talk to. Say, for example, if, if, if I'm in this place and I really like this girl, right? There's no way in hell, no matter how I'm feeling, like I could be feeling like I want to bite my nails off till it's bleeding because, Mitchell doesn't know how to control his emotions, right? There's no way she's going to find out. Guess what? Everybody needs a confidant. Everybody needs a person that they could rely on to kind of like lend an ear. You'd be like, hey, yo, guess what, homie? Or if you're a girl watching this, guess what, right? This is how I'm feeling. But usually when guys do not ever use your woman as a therapist. She's not there to solve your problems. She's not your mommy. And when you start doing that, she will start pulling away because that's not attractive, right? A guy is supposed to kind of know what he's doing. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't have any problems, that you can't tell her what's going on, but it's more like, hey, babe, guess what? This is what happened. This was bothering me, but don't I'll be okay. I'll be okay. How's your day been? Right? You see where that's coming from. It's coming from a place of strength and knowing that you're vulnerable. That it's okay that, hey, you're human. You get bothered, and that's okay. I get bothered too, right? I get bothered, I get jealous, right? But it doesn't run me. So it's understanding what runs you and whether you're coming from a place of strength versus from a place of weakness. So, anyways, that was the recap. I know it's a little bit longer, but let's go on to our first slide, which is the journey, right? Which is the journey of, who you become is more important than what you get, right? So, success is something you attract by the person you become. And this always kind of reflected back into my life when I remembered I was horrible when it came down to like speaking to people. People always say, "Oh, Mitchell, you was always outgoing." I was like, "Yeah," but I was super shy, and I just didn't know how to really be myself. And you know, a good way of actually breaking that was actually learning to be comfortable with who I am, and not just be, oh, just be who you are, because that type of advice just does not work, at least not for me. Just be who you are, just be who you are. And I was instantly judged. But then now I could be standing at a Starbucks and I'll be a goofball. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm having fun. That's for me. And guess what? If people could resonate with that and they see the authenticity with that, and you could be you, they actually relate way better than the person trying to be the coolest person in the crowd, right? Because you're going to be like everybody else, but you stand out by becoming yourself. And so it's really understanding, where are you at and how do I become more comfortable being, in my own skin, and that way people can relate to you, right? And when I see authentic people, I'm like, yo, I give them props. I'm like, yo, there's not a lot of people that could be like you, and it's rare. It's rare when I see that. So I wanna let you know, credit when credit's due. So yeah, you're cool. You're a cool ass person, in other words, right? So now, before you want to move on to this journey of whatever success means to you, right? You have to define success, right? And so before, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, right? Success is working towards a small goal or a goal, compounding to a bigger goal, right? Whatever area in your life, right? Whether it's health, finance, personal relationships, whatever it is, what means most to you right now, right? I know some people might be struggling financially, so hey, maybe that might be the first. And some people might be watching this and they're like, well, there's some relationship things that I need to work with, right? And that's okay, but it's working towards a micro goal. What are different goals? What are you reading, right? Those are important too. And if you want books and to understand that, feel free to hit me up, let me know, and I will send you the books that I've read that actually helped me and all the things that I've been watching and listening, right? Happy to help, love to help. But anyways, what does success mean to you, right? If you haven't thought about it, now will be a great time to start. And if anyone were to be like, okay, there's so many things I want to work on, right? I'm bad with my finance. I don't have any, relationships, and I want to be blah 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 blah. And there's a million things that you have. Start with whatever means most to you. Whatever's actually bothering you the most, right? Your mind will tell you. You will feel it. That's usually the first thing, right? And then work towards that. Whatever's bothering you and that's affecting you the most, okay? So, success is a journey towards a goal, is actually having understanding, and it's not one way, right? It's like as you're moving towards this journey, whatever it's finance or personal or relationships or whatever, like you're going to find a lot of obstacles in a way. It's not straight line, right? It's gonna dip no matter what. But as long as you're making progressions and there's little tiny setbacks, it's okay, because hey, like anything, nothing will ever go as planned, right? So I remember, especially when I was trying to understand this, I was hurt. I didn't understand anything about relationships. I was deeply bothered. Anything that she did, I just went for it. And I chased. And I chased her away. And it didn't happen once, it didn't happen twice, it happened to multiple people. And then, a great way to learn is to actually study patterns. Like, what were the patterns that I had? Well, I noticed that whenever she didn't like me back, I started pursuing more. And guess what? That never got her. Okay? That never got her. Maybe one time, and that was only by luck. And it's only because she didn't have anybody else lined up, right? She would have not chose me. She settled with me. I don't want to be someone settle. I don't want to set. I want them to be like, yo, I chose you, Mitchell, because you were the shit. And you were the best option out of 10, 20, 50, whatever, right? Like, I chose you. I hope she didn't have 50. Right? I hope she didn't have 50. But if she did, right? But you know what I'm saying? It's like, I want to be the best option, not someone that like, oh, you're a good rebound. You're a good rebound. I wouldn't want that. Now, at least not for me. I wouldn't want that for you too. Right? So, having it's as you're succeeding and you're getting better at this, you're going to you have to trust the process, right? So it's actually taking the courage to take the first step, right? Taking action breeds confidence and courage. Inaction breeds fear and doubt. So if you're unsure and you don't take any action, well, guess what? You're going to be fearful. And humans, we have two biggest fears: fear that we're not going to be loved, and fear that we're inadequate. And usually what usually happens to kind of mask or absolve these kind of issues is usually by masking it by another area in your life that you're successful in, right? But what if you were successful in all areas? You love what you do, you love the relationship, the person that's next to you is your biggest supporter. Like, that's possible, but it doesn't come easy. Because like anything, relationship goes through phases, just like in business, it goes through phases. You have to understand what to do, otherwise it will crumble, right? So it's being prepared. And right here is a great place to be prepared if you have relationships. Okay. I wouldn't be the business guy. Okay. Don't come to me for that. Okay. But success is a journey towards a goal, towards the actual achievement of the goal, right? So if you're no, hold on, let me rephrase that. Success is a journey towards what you're doing, not actually achieving the actual goal. So that's what I meant. And here's one thing to kind of think about. Now imagine this, right? A lot of people, if someone were to give you $1 million or $1 billion or whatever, $1 million at best. So I've given this example before, right? But best you'd be at $1 million, or you'd be a millionaire or a billionaire. But it wouldn't take long for it to go back to the people that gave it to you, right? Into the pockets of those people, because they know how to get that back, because they understand it. And that's the thing too. It's like you won't really appreciate it if it was already given to you. And So it kind of makes me wonder, it's like the things that is given to you are free. Those are the things that are most valuable. Things that you could possess, those are like, actually, if you think about it, those are the cheapest thing. You can actually get it, right? So what's most important? Think about it. What do you have in your body that is given to you technically for free, right? You didn't earn it. You kind of just, made it past the goalie, right? And here you are, surprise, right? But it's like, yo, your heart, your mind, it's like those are, like, imagine not having a brain. You wouldn't be here, right? So does all those materialistic things matter? No. So now it's like, that makes me wonder, it's like, well, how come your brain is a fabulous thing? How come most people don't use it? It's because what's given to them for free, they don't really appreciate it as much, right? So why don't people use it? Why not? So anyways, so what is your journey towards? What is your specific goals? What do you have, right? Is it health and fitness? Is it your mental health, right? If you find yourself always consistently thinking about things that bothers you a lot, that tells me who you are as a person. And that means it's because you're unhappy in one area of your life. So if you're not happy in that sense, it means that that area in your life needs a little bit of readjustment, whatever it is. And it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. But guess what? Success leaves clues, right? Jim Rohn used to say, success leaves clues. And so don't try to do it by yourself. There's people that already done it. So follow the people that already did it. And a great way to start is actually by listening to the people that, so I love watching Jim Rohn, I love watching Tony Robbins, I love Coach Corey Wayne, Julian himself, and there's plenty of other people, and there's books as well, right? But it's by whenever they drop a name, you want to make sure that you look those people up or you take a photo, because hey, that helped them. If that helped them, then hey, it's like I remember when Neo, which is someone that I really look up to, he's an R&B singer. He was like talking about Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder and all that. Great. So I looked them up and I saw why. Same thing goes to relationship. What happened? So I started looking at other people, especially when they drop names, right? So let's see, micro goals. Okay, so what were some of the micro goals that I did today, right? Personally, what happened today was, I got to understand a little bit more about TED Talks because I enjoy speaking. So that means that I want to be better at it. Now, I would say I'm an amateur when it comes to speaking. Could I be better? Absolutely. Even if I was quote unquote the best, which I'm not, I would still like to learn, right? It's being able to always, it's to love the progression, right? Enjoying the process is way more important than the actual achievement of the goal, right? Because here's the thing, I wouldn't want to be up there and have nobody to share it with. I would love to be up there or whoever, whatever, and being able to be like, yo, thank you guys so much for being there, so that's where it's all about. It's being able to share what I have when I'm at the top. And plus, you also want, and along the way, you're going to have a lot of people that's going to hate on you. Those aren't the people you want around anyways, right? But you want the people that shares that with you, instead of saying, oh, why are you up there, you don't deserve it and all that. Like, no, I wouldn't want that type of people up there. I want the people that's like, hey, yo, you did it. How can I do it just like you? Well, guess what? I know the way because I did it, or you know the way and you did it, and teach me, right? This is because what was it? Was it Jim Rohn that says success is never crowded along the extra mile? Because it's just that most people are not willing to move towards that because people are lazy, right? The brain's given to you. Nobody wants to do it. No one wants to invest in themselves. And also they start believing the story continuously. Oh, this is what happened. This is how my family was. My family was like this. So that's why I'm a piece of whatever, right? Like, no. But if you start believing in that, that's where you're going to end up. All right. So moving on to slide number 2, which is, unless you expand your identity, change is temporary. So unless that this is the person you become, it's only going to be it will only last as long until you obtain something. So what I've noticed is this: when I start teaching people about, hey, maybe I got this girl back, or this girl got this boyfriend back, or whatever, X, whatever it is, what usually happens is once it's obtained, they kind of just brush it off like, oh, already got it, right? That is exact same reason why it got you there in the first place, if you think about it, right? So if you want to know, follow the patterns of what you did and start marking it down. And it's difficult to see patterns unless you have like someone there looking at it for you, and especially if they've done it longer than you have, right? That's why there's coaches, right? The coaches, they might not be the best star player in the game, but they could see what's going on, right? It's seeing the bigger picture, and it's kind of like zooming out. This is what's going on. Let's focus on this, and this is how we execute it. And so, anyways, unless you expand your identity, change is only temporary, right? What you become is far more important than what you get, and what you get will be influenced by what you become. So think about it like this: let's just say a great girl comes into my life. If I'm not ready for it, or let's just say she comes in, she stays with me for 2 years, and guess what happens? Eventually, she's going to find out I'm a fraud, unless I am working towards myself, right? Towards becoming a better person by understanding relationship. And there could be compatibility issues, right? Hey, absolutely, right? I want to make sure she's not a Fruit Loop, that she's not a cuckoo, but let's just say she is, and I'm not ready for it. Well, guess what? It's not mine. And what's not mine won't be mine unless I'm prepared. And just like relationship, it goes through phases. And if you don't know what to do during those phases, it's not going to be yours. Here's an example. When a girlfriend, especially back in the days, right, happening to Mitchell, and they say, Mitchell, I want to break up, I freak out. I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh, we broke up, and yeah, Mitchell, you was a little biatch, right? But I started learning, and I started understanding when they actually not threatened, but when they unilaterally chose that option for me, and I did not agree to breaking up, well, guess what? I approach it totally different. So let's just say my past relationships and all that, I always chased. But now this time, I'm just kind of like, okay, if you unilaterally chose this, I'm not going to participate in that. I respect myself, and obviously I've been working towards myself, and I only want to become better at this. Well, guess what? If you don't want me, somebody else will. Why? Because I know that I put in value into myself, and I know someone will value this. But the worthy is meant for the deserve, and if you don't deserve it, and if you haven't worked towards it, then there's going to action, and that's what Jim Rohn used to say: massive action. You got to take action, right? In any area of your life. Okay, so who you become allows you to enjoy the journey to become more than you are, right? Seek for a purpose seek for a purpose larger than yourself, and that's what this journey is. Because usually what happens is, if you aim low, right, and be careful with those people that aims low, but if you aim low and you achieve it and it's easily obtained, well, guess what? You're not going to really you're always going to feel like you hit a dead end. You're like, oh, I achieved it, now what? Oh, I got this, and then now what, right? I remember, it's like, here's an example. When I wanted my favorite Pokemon card, and I finally got it after, I don't know, I was 13. It's been like 20 years, right, almost. And after I got it, I'm like, cool. Now what, right? It's like, great. And it's just like anything else in life. But it's like, but that's why if you choose something that's bigger than yourself, right? And that's why, like, think about it. People that have the most, that could give the most, they feel fulfilled, is because giving, it feels a lot better than you can receive. Giving feels a whole lot better. right? Think about it. When was the last time you gave something and you felt great about, especially if that person appreciated it? They're like, wow, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Like, you helped me out. Wow. I don't even know. Like, and then you just feel appreciated versus like, you just take. And there are takers out there. So be careful, right? You don't want to be like the sales guy that always comes in and feels like you're always trying to take, right? I'm not a sales guy, but when I've been pitched and I'm like, yo, I don't feel like you have my best interest. You just want my dollars, right? You know that sense, right? So anyway, seek for a purpose larger than yourself, right? If it's only to meet your own needs, you would drop back to your comfort zone, and that's what I meant by that. Okay. So a lot of this was, inspired by Tony Robbins. So shout out to Tony. But anyways, so don't mistake your what you have obtained with sustainability, right? By understanding, like, hey, you know what, I obtained this. That's great. Did I deserve it? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm going to work towards to understand so that I could sustain this, right? Like if someone were to be like, here is this nice, expensive car, and you'd be like, all right, Mitchell is gonna cost you this much every month and all this, and I'm like, it's actually better. You know what? Just keep the car. It's okay. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. Because why? I wouldn't want to sustain that. But if they gave it to me or whatever, I'd be really appreciative. But if they gave it to me and I could sustain it, great. Absolutely, right? Same thing in a relationship. As if a good person comes in and you don't know how to sustain that relationship, well, it's only gonna last as long as it will until they get tired of you, right? Until the infatuation goes down. Okay. Now, if your identity is always about being the victim, blaming others for the mistakes, and that's what's happening to me, everything happens to me. Well, guess what? Then your life is as predicted as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, right? It's very predictable, right? Because people who keep blaming people, like, they're very unhappy people. Have you ever been around people and you're just having a great day, but all they talk about is like, well, guess what happened to me? This is what happened. This sucks. And in the beginning, you kind of like, yeah, I don't mind. You're still kind of fresh to me. You kind of new. But after a while, it gets old, right? But if you're around somebody that's always like, hey, yo, guess what? I got this. Can't wait to share it, right? Or whatever. It's like, yo, hey, I got this nice bottle of wine. I got this. You like wine. I like wine. Let's just open this wine so we can appreciate it together. It's like people like people that could share. You know what I mean? And it's being able to give. But you can't give what you don't have, right? So it's understanding that, and just be aware of the people that you're around too. And don't fake it. Don't fake the pride, because when you fake it, it's not going to end well. Okay, don't fake your pride by either bringing someone down so that you can feel better about yourself. And that's about what, 80% of conversation, if you think about it. If you talk to a regular person, and most people live mediocre lives. I don't want to be a part of that group. I don't want to be a part of the group where it's always talking about the other person. Now, if you're telling me about this other person, that's fine. I can listen. That's as long as we're talking about a solution. Okay, this person did this. Okay, but what did you do? Because you have to listen to both sides of the story. Only a fool listen to one side, right? Everybody always juice up their story. So it's by understanding that story, then you will have a solution. And then that's talking about an idea, right? So, small people or small minds discuss people. Great minds discuss ideas, right? Average minds discuss events. So if you're just talking about another person, you're not really finding a solution. Then what are you really talking about? So you are talking about this because you feel inadequate, and that's part of your fear, and that's something that you actually never work towards because you're just always fearful. But talking about this makes you feel better. Well, guess what? Feeling and all this, it's one, if you're a guy watching, it's feminine energy. So if you're always talking about how you feel, and you're not finding a solution, then that's not really getting you anywhere. So you want to make sure, if you're talking about how you feel, absolutely, what can we do to to resolve this, not to absolve this problem where it's just to express how I feel. and you don't really get anywhere, right? And a lot of people kind of participate in that, right? They major in minor things, right? As what Tony would say. So people who blame others will always find themselves angry all the time, right? So here's my story. Back then, I used to blame others. You know, how I was raised is what happened to me. And, you know, by changing how you stack things was really important, right? So think about it in terms of what most people do and what not a lot of people do. When was the last time you actually stumbled upon someone that was actually really excited about life, that always sees the good in things and good in people? And this is, you know, like, hey, you know what? Hey, maybe this happened, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. Like, those people are extremely rare. I think I've met like a handful at most, right? Anyways, then you get these people that start stacking negatives. It's like, this happened to me, this happened, and then that, and then think about it. Once one negative thing happens, everything seems to stifle you a whole lot easier. And that's usually part of the kind of the RAS. So, you know, if you want to go check that out, go check out Julian himself on YouTube. I think he talked about it with his partner about RAS. He would know more about it. But anyways, it's what you focus on, right? So if I told you to close your eyes, right? And then I want you to, before you open back up your eyes, I want you to focus on things in front of your screen right now that is orange, and open up your eyes. You're gonna place a lot of value on things that are orange, right? Like this orange seat, maybe this Charizard or a Charmander or this other Charmander, right? So it's what you focus on, and it depends on what you stack. And people, most people, they start stacking negative feelings, and that's where they live most. Negative, unhappy, right? They might have everything going on for themselves, but they live here. And is that really the type of person that, like, this is what causes a lot of, like, what I think one of the most common thing is no charge. I got one baby right here, but it's where they stack. Is where you stacking, you know? It's like, and I'm not saying that I'm never negative, right? It happens to me, but I don't let it bother me, right? It's not letting it bother me. And here's a great example. Back then, when I used to like a girl, it bothered me so much when she used to talk to other guys. But what I had to understand and realize was this: one, she's not my girl, right? It's a girl that I like. And the reason why I was upset was because she's not mine. But what was the cause? Let's go back. Let's pull it all the way back. What was the cause? It's because I felt inadequate. I felt like I couldn't put up, like, I couldn't match up to who they were. And that's why I was upset. And that's why I'm mad. And that's why I couldn't hold my emotions, right? And that's what caused me to chase, right? So it usually starts from how I feel, my emotions, and it causes the action, right? But I had to understand, like, that pattern that I had, that was not healthy, right? So what ended up happening was I started studying, I started understanding, and I started building emotional resilience. And this is something that is taught, and you know, once you know it, it's great. And there's a quote that, you know, Tony Robbins said, where it was, leaders anticipate, losers react, right? And so that was when I was like, oh, you know, like, okay, so how do I anticipate this? He was like, well, and this is where Coach comes in, right? Coach Corey Wayne. So go check him out if you haven't. Amazing guy. He knows what he's talking about. And, you know, he was like, when you start reacting to things, you start becoming like the rest of the people. If you want to separate yourself from the boys and the men, this is how you're supposed to act. And by anticipating it, you learn how to respond. And so the girl that I liked, what ended up happening was I would chase and chase, and they will eventually go away. But once I started understanding that, hey, you know what? Guess what? My job as the guy is to hang out, have fun, and hook up. That's it. Hang out, have fun, hook up. Bottom line. Now, if maybe hooking up might not be your thing, but well, guess what? That's where I'm at, right? If I were to be single, this is where it would be at. Hang out, have fun, hook up. Not hang out, talk about relationships and where we're at, right? For guys, hang out, have fun, and hook up. And that's all you're really supposed to really focus on. Guys don't focus on relationships, but I focus on relationship. I focus on what I wanted and how I felt, right? Let's date it back. I was talking about me. I wasn't focused on what they were doing, on what they wanted, which, they meaning the girl, right? And so once I started understanding that, it doesn't matter. Well, guess what? If she wants to be with me, she will choose me because I'm the most irresistible option, right? Now, if she chooses another guy, that's fine too. You know why? Number one, she's not my girl. Number two, I have the opportunity to do something like that too. So why not? We're not exclusive, so technically I could actually be dating other girls too, right? But let's just say that she wants to talk to me, she'd be like, you know what, I'm not seeing. And when a girl does this, that's how you kind of know she kind of wants you, but she's kind of like held back. Is she talks about like, so where are we going? Where are we? What's going on? I'm not seeing nobody. Are you seeing somebody? Like, that's what they will bring up. And that's feminine energy. Feminine energy is about opening up to receive love, bonding, connecting. That's feminine energy. Masculine energy focuses on, the mission, their purpose. That's what their drive is. They're willing to take risks, right? And they should always come from a place of strength, right? Think about what James Bond would do, right? So when a girl tells James Bond, hey, we're not gonna be sleeping tonight, right? Like, all right, sure, right? Just her talking about sleeping with you, she already thought about it, right? So it's like, all right, yeah, sure. And that's not supposed to stifle you. So once I understood that, I was like, you know what? That's actually, one, is healthier for me. I'm not bothered by it. And the reason why I am bothered is because I'm attached to something that's not real, that I want more than reality. And if and and the reason why it's unhealthy is because let's just say that you get the person that you want based off how you felt and that person become yours. That still means that the feelings that you're going to be having will be dependent about on the other person. So literally, I want her, and let's just say magically she becomes mine. So I'm excited, I'm happy. But what's not mine is not meant to be mine. So guess what? If she's unhappy, right? Let's call her Kiki. If Kiki's unhappy and she would be like, let's break up, then I'm gonna be left kind of, left in the dirt. And I'm like, what's going on? I thought you loved me. I thought you cared, right? Like, and then I'm gonna be coming from a place of weakness. And then she leaves, and I'm like, see, guess what? See, I told you so. This is what always happens. It's like, no, I get to change that. I change that by understanding that, girls are going to act like this. Women are going to act like this, and that's okay. She's not mine, and that's okay. Let her come and go as she please. But also, it comes with boundaries, and you gotta set and enforce those healthy boundaries. Look, if we're exclusive, it means that we're exclusive, right? I wouldn't want you to entertain other guys. You could talk to guys, and they could be your friend, right? But you have to also, and I trust you, the girl, that once they pursue more, that you know exactly what to do because I trust you, right? And that's part of the vetting process. You have to understand that. And this has become my identity. This is who I become. And so that's why I wake up day in, like, it keeps me up late at night. And the first thing that I wake up, I kind of think about what's going on, what I would like to discuss about how it will improve relationships. Is because to me, relationship is really important. So I want to understand how relationship works, right? But this is about teaching you how to properly vet that person that's in front of you, right? Are they really the best candidate for you? And where are you currently at, right? You got to participate in your own rescue. So anyways, who you become allows you to enjoy the journey. You got to seek purpose larger than yourself. Let's see, don't mistake it. Okay, I talked about that. If your identity is always about being a victim. Okay, now moving on. So this is what happened. Third slide. becoming the person you want to attract, right? Moments in life, you're controlled by your state of how you feel. Just think about it. How you feel is controlled by your state of mind, right? So if you're happy, you're gonna be operating from a way different place, right? You're gonna be more giving. You're gonna be smiling, right? Now, if I were to ask you, what is a person that's sad? How's their body language? What are they? Are the shoulders held back with the chin up, or is it more kind of like rolled in, kind of looking down? And how's the voice? How's the tone of voice sound like? So think about that, right? So it depends on your state, right? So moments in life, you're controlled by your state. Whether you're fearful, you're angry, you're happy, you're playful, any state you're in, you're going to respond differently, right? The model of your world will change. The model of your world is what controls. I'm sorry. The model of your world is what controls your state long term, right? So it's how you view it, right? If you always view the world as everything's going against you, well, guess what? You're gonna be living a shitty life because you're always playing not to lose, right? You're always playing defense this whole time. Like, you're not even willing to attack. You always like kind of be drawn back. So you're always going to be coming from a place of playing not to lose versus some people play to win, right? And that's why you see like people down below where they're like, why did they deserve it? Why do they have everything? Well, guess what? They work for it. Or maybe they got lucky, but how did they sustain that? That doesn't come with just being by luck. It means that they have to understand the rules. There's certain rules, right? So anyways, it's, the model of the world is what controls your state long term, right? So we all have basic human needs, right? For certainty and love and connection and all that. But if you're driven by certainty, your model of the world would be different than someone who value love more. It's different, right? And what are the things that you value the most to you, right? What's the one thing you value most? And for most people, they value certainty and significance. So they need to feel the sense of importance. And that's one of the 6 basic human needs. And if you're not sure what are the 6 basic human needs, you could look it up. Tony Robbins, he talked about it, and he would get in way more detail than I could. But most people, they fall under certainty and significance. So they won't do anything unless they're certain it's going to work. Well, guess what? Life is full of uncertainty. So most people don't even start. So that's why where most people, they'll be like, what's the point of losing this couple of pounds, right? Or what is the point of doing this? Or what's the point of doing that? Like, it all starts from a single step. Most people would be like, what do you mean, Mitchell? I was out of shape before. I was out of shape. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to talk. Speaking in front live with a microphone is terrifying. I would be scared shitless. But also, so what happened? It brings me back to that one quote, inaction breeds fear and doubt. Taking action breeds confidence and courage. And am I perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do I stutter? Hell yeah. I make mistakes, but that's okay. But it's what is your message, and is it important to the people that wants to listen, right? And so that's why, having a place like, a platform on YouTube or, Instagram or whatever is a great place, right? It's not the resources you have, it's how resourceful you are. Hi, SA, how are you? But, okay. But, a lot of people, that's what they value is certainty and significance. And so if that's what you value, it's kind of like, well, this is where you're going to be, right? And Tony Robbins will explain that a lot better than I could, right? Now, he also talked about trade your expectations for appreciations, because life is about experiences, and it's the journey, right? It's the process. It's by enjoying the process, right? If think about it like this, and imagine you're playing a video game, and I love this example by Julian. He talked about, imagine playing Grand Theft Auto, right? Or whatever video game that you're playing, and you're invincible the whole time. Hi, Sarah. And you're invincible the whole time. You go anywhere, no one could touch you. you could spend money, right? Because you have unlimited amount of money, and anyone you touch dies instantly within one hit. Is life going to be challenging and or exciting? I don't think it is. I wouldn't want to play that game very long. I might just play it for a little bit and be like, it's fine. But let's just say, you know what? It requires some skills. It requires some understanding, some mechanics. Hey, maybe if I get too close, I could still hit this person within the same distance and still be safe. Like, it's understanding spatial distance and all this. It's like that's where video games comes, right? Or maybe if you're like playing FPS, you don't want to be wide open getting shot. Maybe I could shoot him behind a wall or something like that. That's an example, right? But imagine anywhere you go, you shoot somebody, you stab somebody, or whatever. I don't promote violence, all right? But you know what I mean? I'm talking about video games. And that's what happens. It's like, yo, life ain't fun. Life ain't fun. It's not exciting, right? So, that's why you want to be appreciative, right? Things don't happen to you, things happen for you. So when life throws obstacles in your way and you're starting to feel a certain way because of that, well, guess what? Life is giving you a hint of like, hey, look, the feeling you might have is it might be shitty, but guess what? If you can overcome this, not only will you become better, two, you could share it with the people that you care most about, but three, you won't have to be as hurt. It's because you learn, right? You learn because leaders anticipate. Leaders anticipate and losers react, right? So trading your expectations for appreciation. So if you can't do it here now, what makes you think you're going to do it? Or what makes you think you could appreciate it when you have more? Just think about that. If you can't do it now, what makes you think you can have more later or appreciate it when you have more, right? No amount of money, no amount of any material things. Like, happiness must come from within, right? Happiness is a choice. It is not a destination. It's not something that you get there overnight. But here's the great thing. The great thing is you can change the direction of where you want to go. And so that's the best part. And that's the best part. It's by choosing that, hey, you know what? I want to live a better life. I want to be able to grow old and play with my kids. Well, what does that mean, right? And there was, Tony again, he was like, someone who's healthy have a million dreams. Someone who's not has one. And I was like, wait, it took me a while to think about it. I was like, oh, right, health, right? But if you think about it, if you're not healthy and you're just laying there, you're just fighting, and you just want one thing more than anything else, which is to be alive, to survive. But if you are healthy, you have a million things, or at least to some people, right? So ask yourself, here are the things, like you got to find that balance within how to fit it into your life. If you're a planner and you love planning things and you like setting schedules, well, this might be a great place for you, right? Ask yourself, write it down. Don't use your mind as a filing cabinet, but write it down. And what are your daily habits? Think about the things that are trivial to you that you do all the time, and then write those down, and write down the things that you know would be good for you, but you don't do it. Write those down too, right? Just write it all down, and then focus on that one thing that means most to you and work on that little by little. And that's how you start moving, and that's how you get to enjoy the process, right? I don't enjoy going to the gym every day, but hey, well, guess what? If I have higher standards for myself, I need to make sure that there are certain things that I do need to do. I can't just eat whatever I want or whatever, right? Because I want to make sure that I want to preserve my life, but two, I want to be able to move anywhere I want without being in pain, because to me, life is about movement, and I want to be able to move, right? Turning 34 very soon. I'm getting old. I'm getting a little older, right? But it's like I want to be sure that I want to play with my nieces. If I have kids later on down the line, I want to be able to play with them too. And I don't want to be that old ass dad. You know what I mean? Be like, oh, there goes freaking dad with his badass hips. I'm like, no, I don't want that. I want to be like, who's that? Who's that young looking guy? But he ain't young, but he looked young. I want to be that. I want to be that. Having higher standards, right? What are your standards? What are the things that you do every day? So that's very important, right? And are you consistent with those habits or the rituals that you have, right? Because that's what's going to kind of compound who you become, right? Because who you become is way more important than what you get, right? If if someone took everything away from you, you have $0 in your bank account. Yeah, of course, life sucks. Your house gone, everything. You living in the streets. You know, yes, it's going to take time, but you know you could get out of that, right? But let's just say you take it from someone that did not have those type of, say, riches or whatever, or that wealth, and you take it all away from them. Well, guess what? They're not going to know how to get it back because they never operated from that place. They don't understand it, right? So it's actually preparing yourself, right? Ignorance is not bliss, especially when it means it's your life, right? It's the books that's gonna cost you if you don't read it. It's not how much the book costs. So what are you constantly thinking of, right? What runs you? What are your thoughts? What the thoughts you have and the state you're constantly in. I took full accountability, before. I was like, look, Mitchell, you just unhappy. I was really unhappy. And I was like, I don't know how to get out of this state. I was in a very depressive state. I don't know if it's considered depression or anything. I just knew that I was not happy, or let's put it like that. And you know, one thing happened after another, and yes, life happens, but it just so happened to stack, and that's not something that I wanted, but it did happen, and it felt like I could not bounce back up, and it felt like, you know, I felt like everything was against me, right? But then all it took was that one person to really believe in me. And and this was before I understood anything like this. And thing was, I had that person that was like, yo, Mitchell, is things might feel bad right now, but I I don't want you to give up. I want you to, cuz I know you're not a type of person to give up. Yeah, but I feel like giving up. Well, you know what? That's not who you are. And I was like, you're right. Like, I have to get out of the state, to kind of put it in perspective. Like, let's put it like this: ending a life, or my life, not a life, but my life. Let's just say that I was considering it at one point, right? And that was a really dark time. And that was when I was like, I need to get out of this. Like, so we either learn from inspiration or desperation. I was in a total desperate place, and I got out. And that's why, I wouldn't be sharing this with you, or I wouldn't be sharing the type of information if it wasn't for the people that helped me pull me out of that. But by understanding and actually experiencing it, it was a very dark time, right? And I know I shared this story a couple of times, especially with the people that's familiar with this work, but it's a blessing. And when life challenges you like this is where this is where Tony said, he was like, good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people, and strong people create good times, right? So let's just put it like this in perspective. Good times creating weak people. I was weak. I was just having a good time. Didn't know what's gonna hit me. Boom, hit me. Weak people create bad times. I was weak, so I created many, many, many bad times. I played a lot of stories in my head, things happening to me. Everything was me, 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 me. So it wasn't until I could start understanding others by kind of giving back a little bit too, by understanding, that's when everything started to make a little bit more sense, right? And then bad times create strong people. That was when I was actually able to bounce back up by understanding that, hey, I had that person by my side. Mitchell, that's not like you. That's not who you are. You always get out of it. I don't know what's gotten into you in this place, but I know you could get out of it, right? And that's why having a great supporter is really important. Having great friends is important, right? And especially if I'm going to spend the rest of my life with that person, that's the type of person that I want in my life, not someone that's always waiting. Oh my God, I can't wait too much to come back home so I can unleash all my feelings onto him because my day's shitty. Like, no, I wouldn't want that person. Mm-mm. It's about giving, right? That's what I want in a relationship, but that's what I know, right? And strong people create good times. And then you see the cycle of life, right? It kind of just cycles back in, right? So, um, let's see. Leaders anticipate, losers react. An example is your emotions, right? Emotional self control. If you're prepared mentally, you know that the things your partner will say won't get to you. It won't bother you, right? But if you don't know how to anticipate it, if you were never ready for it, well, guess what? Anything they say will bother you, and it will stifle you. It will get you uncentered, and that's going to cause you. If you're a man and you're watching this, it's gonna cause you to act like, AKA another word, a bitch, right? That's a bitch is like kind of like it's another night worst way of saying that you're not in your masculine, especially for a guy. You're not in a masculine, right? And when you're complaining and complaining, it's kind of like it's not going to help. It's Think about the story of Medusa when he was chopping the head off, right? Every time does what a guy does, you get the sword when a woman comes, your lady comes to you, whether or not she's your girlfriend or not, she comes to you and she says something, and it's to cause a reaction, right? You're always trying to like slice off Medusa, them snakes. Every time you slice one out, three grows, right? Whether it's her feelings or you're trying to fix her problems or whatever it is, you start slicing it. And guess what? You're gonna end up overwhelmed because you're like, I always try to help her, but I always end up losing. Well, it's because you're not really understanding her language, right? Men and women communicate totally differently. So it's learning as guys how to understand how to decipher those messages, right? Which is, I always like to play a little game for myself. When she says this, what is she saying? And what does a girl say? Right? That's what I like to, play a little game. At least it puts me in a better mental state, right? This is what she said. Yes, did it piss me off a little bit? Maybe, but she's not going to see that. But what is this? Oh, she said it like this. It's because this is what she's trying to communicate. And that's why a woman says you're not listening, right? So now on the flip side, if you're not prepared, on the flip side, let's see, or she would say, I was never taught this. It's like, well, at that point, ignorance is not bliss. It means that you didn't know it. You didn't even try to fix it. Well, guess what? You're going to get that result. It's going to happen over and over, right? And you don't want, we all know the definition of that cliche definition of insanity. So I don't want to go over that. But, this fall, ignorance is not bliss. What you don't know will add up, Success is never crowded along the extra mile. And, I want you guys to start asking certain questions in different areas of your life, right? Where are you going? Where are you going in life, right? I know it's a very broad question, but what's that one area that you think about, you consistently think about? Where are you going? And when you get to answer that, I want you to answer, who will you become once you get there? Who will you become? Is that the person at the top of, like, that you lie and cheat your way up there and finally I got up there, you never really deserved it? Or, this is the person that I become. Like, if I were to move up anywhere, how I want to do it, this is me personally, is I want to go up there by, of course, hard work, of course, but not just hard work, but you want to work smart too at the same time. But it's through integrity, meaning what I say and saying what I mean. And that's the one thing as a guy. If you're a guy and you're watching this, if you say something and you don't mean it to her, every time you break that, she's not going to trust you as much every single time. She's going to draw back just a little bit, right? And so that's why, especially as a guy, if you say you're gonna do this, you better mean it. And it's not just saying, oh, I'll meet you there at 7, I'll see you at 7, and you get there at 6:50. That's great. Keep that up. But I'm talking about, what does it mean? It means that if she doesn't want to communicate with me, because she unilaterally chose that decision of, hey, you know what? I don't want to be with you anymore, Mitchell. Well, guess what? Then I would say, You know what? That's not what I'm looking for. You know how I feel about you. Call me when you change your mind. And I'll walk away and I will never look back. Unless she comes back to me. That is it. I wouldn't say it's a power play, but I mean that. I mean that. I'm never going to be around someone that's not going to appreciate who I am and my time, because my time is valuable, just like I value your time, because time is something we can never get back. So, it's easy to say like, hey, I'll meet you at 7, and then like 7:10 or 6:50, whatever, right? If you're a little late, some people, but I will always try to come early, if not on time, right? But if things like call me when you change your mind, because this is not the terms that I signed up for, basically, the best negotiating position is to walk away and mean it. If you walk away and you be like, well, it's been 2 weeks, have you changed your mind yet? Well, she's not going to trust your masculine core, and she's going to be like, this guy, he's a fraud. He says certain things and he does another, and I can't trust that, because it's going to cause me as the woman, right? Imagine me as the woman, pretty hair, and she's going to be like, yeah, I can't really trust this guy. There's something about him. I don't know what it is. And that's what it is. She can't trust your masculine core. You say one thing and you do another, right? And those are the tests that you cannot break. If you break that, she's not going to trust you, right? So, who you become. And this is part of my identity, right? That's who I am now. And what will it take? Well, it's going to take a long time, but I got to enjoy the process, and I never stop. Like, I'm obsessed with this. This is what I love doing, right? So it's like I could talk about it all day, and it's great, and I love it, right? And that's how I'm able to share with you guys, right? If I faked this, I would have given up like maybe a month ago, but it's been over what, almost a year, almost coming what, 2 years, if we push it a few more months, almost 2 years just on like Instagram and YouTube, right? But just this is just me talking about it, but it took a lot of time to actually lead up to it, right? So a worthy goal. What is a worthy goal, right? How does it look like once you have achieved it? And a worthy goal. What is the worthy goal? And a worthy goal for me is being where I want, where I get to celebrate with the people that I love. That's it. The money comes and goes, right? Who I become is way more important. Now, if if I get up there with being who I am and financially stable and everything, doing what I love, great, absolutely. I would love to do that, right? And that's part of the journey, right? But, success is a different thing to one another, but it really means that, like, what does it mean to you? What does success means to you, right? And Tony did say, he was like, a healthy person has a million dreams, and a healthy person only has one. So what is your dream, right? And yeah, so there's a lot of people that wants the people around them to grow, and it's rare to get those type of people. So when you do meet those people, understand them. How can you give, right? I'm not talking about money, monetize, or anything like that, but it's who you are, right? Who you become. If I meet a friend, or I meet a friend of a friend, and let's just say I'm an asshole, ain't nobody want to be around me. So who I become is more important, right? And life is about connections. It's about who you know. So the better you are, the better you could listen, right? The better you could understand another person, because most people in this world do not get heard. Also, a woman only wants to be heard. She needs to be understood, and that's how the legs open like a peace sign, baby. But yeah, it's like, it's by understanding what their needs are. It's understanding the other person. It's not about always giving, but it's what they could reciprocate to as well, because in a relationship, it's always about giving. But anyways, that is all that I have for today or tonight. I hope this slide was this helpful, right? Who you become is more important than what you get. A lot of this was inspired by Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins' mentor, his name was Jim Rohn, Rohn, Jim Rohn. And if you want to know more about relationships and tips, I a lot of what I learned was from Coach Corey Wayne and other people as well. But Coach had this philosophy, this ideology that I really, really like, which is, just be around people that likes you, that you like them, and that's great. And there's other people also online that I don't agree with. There are men out there teaching other men that, you just use women and this is all they're good for, and that's not me. That's not who I am. So I don't participate in that, and I don't agree with that at all. But I believe in a more meaningful relationship, whether it's a friend or your lover and whoever it is. And it's all about building that relationship, that bond, that trust. And you want to make sure that you don't ever break that trust, because trust is something that once it's broken, it's never going to be the same. So that's why meaning what you say, having being a person of integrity, right? That's really important. It's really important to me. So, and if you're listening to this, I hope that means a lot to you too as well. But anyways, if you guys do find this message of value, please hit that like and share with your friends, right? Everything will be in the description. But do you guys have any questions? Could I answer any questions for you guys? How was it? Did you guys enjoy it? I literally talked for like 70 minutes straight. Why didn't nobody stop me? Also, Bay, yo, we in the finals, baby. We in the finals. So, not that I watch NBA, but yeah. Yeah. I'll stay on for another few minutes. You're the man. All good stuff. Thank you. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. And I hope this is helpful, man. And yo, if there's any questions you want to know that you don't know, ask me. And if I don't know, I won't give any false information, because if I don't know, I own up to it. I'll be like, yo, you know what? That's a good question. I don't know. Pause everything else just to take it all in, man. Much appreciated again. Wow. Means a lot to me, man. Any time that is given, it is very important. I feel like it is. You know what I learned from that TED Talk book? It's about being able to deliver a good message. And because it's a this, what was that word? This, can't pick out the word, but it's kind of like, if I'm going to be talking, I want to make sure that things are prepared, because I don't want to waste your time, because time is very valuable, right? Whatever you want to do with your time, it's valuable. So thank you. And thank you all for tuning in. Sarah, Shevlin, right? I think there's another person. But if you do find this video content of value, please share it. Leave a like. But other than that, if you guys don't have any more questions, Mitchell has to pack up, because, yeah. Let's see, Shevelin, you said trust is a must in a relationship. Absolutely. You can't have a relationship without trust. You cannot have a relationship without trust. You can't. And, I was stupid enough to think that you could one day. And I was like, what kind of I don't want to live in fear, okay? I want to be able to, like, hey, look, guess what? If my lady says she's going to call me and she doesn't, well, guess what? Because I trust her, I know she ain't going to be doing nothing fishy, behind my back, right? It's just, that's the type of trust that I want. But if I didn't trust her, and I'm always thinking, like, what if she does this? What if she's doing that? Like, how come so many, like, and here's the thing, like, if I'm with this lady, I know for a fact that other guys will want to try to holla at her, talk to her. Well, guess what? There's nothing I can do about it. I control the controllables. I can't control how other guys talk to her. I can't control how she talks to other guys neither. But what I can control is my feelings. And if I don't come from a place of weakness, and I'm like, okay, and guess what? A woman that likes you, she will tell you about all the other guys that's going to be talking to her. And she kind of, it's a lightweight kind of expectation. Well, guess what? She's going to want to expect you as the guy to not get stifled and bothered. Yeah, are you jealous? Yeah, maybe. I get jealous. I still do. But guess what? It's not going to bother me. Well, guess what? Because she's helping me. She's telling me that all these other guys are talking to her. I'd be like, well, guess what? You're with me, so I ain't bothered, right? Come like that. Versus like, why did you entertain it? right? That's coming from a place of weakness. Oh, they like you. Of course they like you. Did you see your badunkadunk? Have you seen your behind? You looking thicker than a Snicker. Oh hell yeah, they're gonna want you. Too bad though that you're mine, right? And that's gonna cause her to feel a lot more comfortable, right? But anyways, I learned a lot listening for a year. I think I'm a person now compared to last year. Absolutely, Shevelin. I think you are a way better person now. You started working on yourself, right? But it's how consistent. It's how consistent you can be. So I want you guys to stay consistent, to be the best version of yourself. And yeah. All right. So I think this is it. You got to call it quits tonight because Mitchell's voice is running out of breath. You can hear it now, right? All right. Well, anyways, you know what? I haven't done this for a while. Wait, where is it? Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate y'all giving me all your time. Love y'all to death. You know, I hope this information helped. And I will catch you guys until the next episode. When is this? Yeah, I'll catch you guys on Saturday. So you know what? Check it out. All right. Peace. Thank you. Thank you for your time.